Well, this is what we're working on here today. We have a manure pump here that we need to change out this bearing box here on it. This guy. And the reason why we have to change it out is because I got into the shaft with the torch. And that's not good. So we're gonna change that out quick. Junior here, he's gonna work on the
bearing gone and a tire flat. Or maybe
Junior's
a flat tire.
Junior's gonna work on a chisel plow here. And we've got some tires to install. They're over there. So he's got the
Bring it back.
get right on the concrete. I could pull the chopper out. All right, so this is gonna get serviced, and he's got a couple of tips to change on it by the looks of it. But what we've got to do, we're gonna try doing this by just unbolting this guy here, taking these bolts out, get this housing off, and then replacing it that way. But we've got some oil to drain out of this tube here. Looks like it's going to fit in a 5-gallon pail. I thought we were going to need a 55-gallon drum, but we got it up on jack stands. We got it up high enough to keep the oil up top, up front there.
That oil had a lot of junk in it. That bearing is gone.
Great.
On that hub. Tire's flat and bearing's gone.
The bearing is gone on the wheel.
Hub. Yeah. In the hub. Yeah.
Great.
On the wheel. Yeah.
All right, so we have about 10 gallons of oil drained out of this, just so that when we pop that apart, we don't have oil going everywhere. We've got the fan housing unbolted, and we've got this, what is it, a 3-port or a 4? This is just a 3-port housing unbolted from the load pipe here. So we'll go ahead and try to split this apart, and then once we get it apart, we can unbolt the bearing box. Alright, we should be able to just pull this off. It's just sitting on that one bolt. It is like a large 1000 PTO shaft, 1 3/4, whatever they are, 11 spline. I think that's what it is. We'll just pull it off of there. Jared might have to get in behind here and hit it with a pry bar. Sliding out of there.
It looks like it's just stuck, not broken.
scrape all that crap out of there. Alright, that's what things look like in there. We just got to clean the gunk out. So this pump, when it's in the manure, for those that aren't familiar with what this actually does, we back the tractor up to the wall, slide this out and drop it down into a 16 foot manure pit. And this is actually the bottom, so this would be vertical. So all the crap there, this tube would be vertical, and then all the crap that's in this tube would float to the bottom. So we'll clean that out, clean this here up, get our seal cleaned up, and then we'll put our new bearing box assembly on there. Alright, we've got our tube cleaned out. And we have our new bearing box assembly to put on there. So we'll go ahead and just lift it into place. We've got to line up the splined shaft here with the shaft that's in that tube. We don't know if we're going to be able to get it now, or if we're going to have to put a long couple of bolts in there to use as dowel pins.
Oh, just set that down and we'll pick it up there with the forklift. Strap right around there.
We get a couple of bolts in it tight, and then you ought to be able to pound that down, maybe.
Yep.
so we just tighten this guy up and get our grease line or oil lines hooked up, and then we'll set this housing on right here. Alright, so we've got this all done. We had it outside just so we could get at it with the forklift. And maybe you want to back up far. Your welder's back there. I think it's still plugged in, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Right, yeah, alright. So we've got this new fan. Yeah, that's right, I did. We got this new fan on there, and now Jared's got, there's a hex washer that goes over the top of that, and then you weld it to keep the bolt from loosening up, and then he's got to put the bottom on this. I've got to put a bearing or tighten up a bearing on the Pottinger disc. I'm going to do that while they're finishing this up, and then we'll get on to our next little project here. So we'll join up with you guys in a little while here. So we've got the rear on. Both duals are on the rear, one on each side. So we'll just go outside and grab the front ones. We're getting them tightened up here now. This tractor did not need the spacers like the 9620 needed, because this tire is a 710, not an 800. All right, so we have the wheels all on this. And you're probably asking, what is this thing? Well, it is the four-wheel drive tractor that we have needed because we have had some breakdowns this year. We were a little light on four-wheel drives anyways. We start off chisel plowing, and then once we get going on the Terra discs, we leave the tractors hooked to the Terra disc, and then we try to do most of the tillage with those. And there's some of the fields that end up having compaction, and we realize we should be running the other larger chisel plow. And then of course you know the problems that we have had with a couple of these tractors. The 9620, I just got the bad news on that. In the last video, towards the end of the video, I had told you that it sounded like it was fuel related when we went and unloaded it up to docks. Well, Rocky called me right while we were getting ready to put the front right dual here on. And he had pulled the fuel pump off of that tractor. And they kind of thought it was fuel related because it ran decently. If you recall in that last video, when we unloaded off the trailer, I didn't video anything because we were at somebody else's place. But at any rate, it's down in the engine, wrist pin, cylinder, piston, what have you. So that's gonna have to get a rebuild. That's unfortunate. We had problems with the 9560 when we got that. We puked out a couple of engines on that. That's got the 13 5-liter engine in it, and I said, you know what, no more of those. The 9410 has a 13.5, but it's went almost 12,000 hours, and we're thinking that we're gonna have that rebuilt before it ends up ruining a crank or the block. That 9620 didn't have that many hours on it, right around 4,000 or so. And that is unfortunate. This is a 9520R. Doesn't have a lot of weight on it. We've got inner weights on the rear axle. We're gonna weigh it here in a little bit. The engine that is in this tractor is 13.5. However, this uses the, oh, it's got the blue tank on it, so it uses the washer fluid. Oh, that's here, right, just like 9620. So this uses diesel exhaust fluid. It's a couple years old. It's got right around 700 hours on it. And it is what it is. Come from Sloan Equipment out in Illinois. The 9560 and the 8360 came from Sloan's. I do like what they did to this. I don't know if it is an option or not, but the 9620 doesn't have it on there. That's an older tractor, but it's got this panel here. The 9560 and the 9410 throw a lot of dirt in on the engine on the starter side. This is all enclosed. Maybe there's a panel we can buy for that 9620. But that 9620 is going to be getting an overhaul here. We're gonna see how this works out with as far as the weight goes. We've got some other things that we need to discuss. We're not sure if we're gonna put a blade frame on this one or not. It is in discussion right now. We've got a blade frame on a 9620 with a, oh, I can't even think of the name of the blade. What kind of blade is that, Jared? Grouser. There we go. That's got a grouser on it, and we're either going to put a grouser frame on this one or the 9560. The trouble with doing that is the frames are different that go on the tractor, but at least Grouser didn't do what Dingleman did, and they make Dingleman, they ended up making the series of the tractor specific to the moldboard that you put on the front. The 9410, 9560 they're a different vintage than this tractor here. However, the 9R series, they're the same as this series. The frame is the same. So I think they wised up a little bit there as far as maybe Dinkelman had to give a little feely action and make this frame the same. We'll go ahead and jump up on in here. We'll kind of show you what the cab looks like. It's real nice and clean. It, oh, Jared, you got dirt on the seat. Yeah. So it is, it's in real good shape. Other than, it's got a little dirt on the seat here, but oh, that brushes right off. That brushes right off. Still got the plastic on the buddy seat here. This tractor has a PTO. We really don't want to own a four-wheel drive like this without a PTO because we want to be able to spread manure. Now I know there's a lot of you out there, oh, you can put a hydraulic pump on there and you can run off of 2 SCVs and run the spreader with a hydraulic pump. Well, that's an option that we might choose to do down the road. However, we're using one function to lift the injector up. We're using another function to run the agitation. I think there's 3 remotes that we have to use right now. And then there'd be another one when we get a fold-up style injector. So I think hydraulically that's probably out of the loop, but it is highly possible. This tractor here has 710 rubber. They are 710/70 R42. If you recall, we got 9620, we didn't know it, but there was a spacer that had to go on the hub. This doesn't need the spacer. This tractor's a little narrower than the 800 tires that are on the 9560 and the 9620. The 9320 and 9410 have 620, so them tires are a little narrower. A little more traction, not quite the flotation, but the 710 is probably the best option tire to have. It's the best of both worlds. Gives you the flotation, but it also is narrow enough to get it down in and get it biting. But this doesn't have any weight on it. Andrew's gonna run it up now and run it across the scale. And we'll get an idea of what it weighs. I'm guessing it weighs around 54,000 or thereabouts. The 9620 weighs somewhere in the neighborhood of 62,000 something. I can't remember. Go ahead and fire it up and roll on out and jump up on that scale and we'll run down and hook it on the disc. So this will be a pretty good addition to the fleet. We still need another one probably. We've been a little light on iron here and we're just trying to catch up. So he'll run up to the scale and we'll weigh that and we'll see how much it weighs. All right, he's just pulling up on the scale. Andrew hooked well, you seen earlier, he put the 8R340 on the 13 shank chisel plow. Wow, that is light. Whoa, that's a lot lighter than I thought. That's coming in at 47,000. Ouch. I don't know, that's gonna need some weight. You wanna guess?
I don't know, 49.
47. I guessed 54.
I'd be a little light.
She's a little light. Light in the loafers.
Where's the 9320? Is that here?
I don't know. Oh boy, that is, yeah.
That needs weight.
Yeah, they're gonna need a little weights on her. It would have been nice to have hooked that tractor to the 19 shank and both of these could have chisel plowed tomorrow, but we need to get doing some disking here. And I don't know, that might not pull that 19 shank.
Yeah, well.
I don't know. Only 47,000 pound. She's a little light. So let's go down and get that hooked up and we'll finish out this video here. Well, they got her all hooked up. This is the older Terra disc. This one was new last year. I need to run a grease gun around it. And we'll disc with this here in the morning. Another thing I wanted to touch on, the 8R340 has that same size tire on the rear of it. It's a 710/70 R42. So that's gonna do it for this video. The tractor's a lot lighter than I thought, but it only has a 1,400 pound weight in on each side of the inner wheel. So we'll see how it pulls and we'll see how it handles. But usually the way weight works, you want to have 10,000 pounds. Is it 10,000 pounds per horsepower? Is that math right?
Huh?
How does that math go? I can't think correctly. So if you're 520 horsepower, you should be at least 52,000 pounds. Somewhere around there. But yeah, maybe it's that's 1,000. So with that being said, that's gonna do it for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll catch you at the next one. We had this new merger hooked up to the, oh, we had a fiasco of a time the other day, and this was actually on the 8120 to begin with, and then it was on the 8360. This guy won't use the new one. This is the new one. He won't use it.
I'll use the new one once I get my T4 down.
What's that?
I'll use the new one once I get my T4
Oh, I
down.
see.
I'll use it second time.
Yeah. So we've only done like 400 acres so far anyways, so we'll get to using this here soon. So that's gonna do it, folks. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we will catch you at the next one. Wonder what's in there. Yeah, maybe a bunch of hats. Oh, open it up. Oh, Nate's got the honors of backing it off the trailer here. Oh, look at all the nice little hats and koozies. Wow. Well, we'll get the duals put on it and put it to work.